fast. When you wake up, eat your first meal, we call it breakfast. It's breaking the fast.
You can't tell people that they should just start fasting.
Well, you know what? When you tell people that, you say, why don't you go home and fast? And they'll go home and say, I heard Dick Gregory, I want to fast. They say, well, did you check with a doctor? You don't check with a doctor when you do coke. You don't check with a doctor when you do alcohol. And all the things that I ever did to corrupt my body, I never checked with nobody. Someone asked me the other day, some news station said, you know, you've been fasting for 30-some years. What does your doctor think? My doctor been dead 27 years.
Someone that spoke to me, and I didn't believe that he was lying. And 90 days later, I didn't have any disease. I didn't eat anything. I believe what he said. He said, don't eat for 90 days. Don't eat for 90 days, then how am I going to live? How are you going to live? The stuff you eat is killing you. So if you just stop eating it, that's a plus, because it's killing you. Stop it. What is a good breakfast? 3 glasses of water or 4. Why? Because that's it.
My food contains glucose, the fuel that feeds the trillions of healthy cells in my body. But that glucose also feeds something else. Zombie cells. Old, damaged cells that have lingered beyond their useful life. By spewing toxic sludge, these zombies infect other healthy cells, speeding up the aging process. Everything from hair loss and wrinkles to the onset of arthritis, cancer, and dementia. But what scientists have realized is that when we fast and cut off the supply of glucose, that zombie army is starved of energy, which saps them of their power. When food is plentiful, our body stores excess energy in the form of fat, under the skin and around the internal organs. When food is scarce, that fat is sent to the liver, where it's turned into an alternative fuel source called a ketone. And it's these ketones which provide the emergency power source, not only for our bodies, but also our brains. Remember those toxic zombie cells aging my body? Well, they're not the only things getting dealt with. Even inside my healthy cells, there's wear and tear. But scientists think that without food to process, those cells can switch into repair mode, fixing damage, cleaning up garbage, nipping any problems in the bud. With the zombies in check and the rest of me in tip-top condition, the future looks healthier and also longer.
Your girl had cancer shrinkage, and I know exactly why, so listen up. And if you know anybody who is healing from cancer or know somebody who knows somebody who's healing from cancer, please send this their way, because we cannot keep this information to ourselves. I was feeling terrible for a while. I was doing very intense chemo, was feeling super inflamed, and like all of the toxins were really just congesting my system and building up. And I got my blood tumor markers tested, and I had an increase. So that really stressed me out, because that signifies an increase in cancer. So then I scheduled scans for 2 weeks later. I had this deep inner knowing and push to fast. I had done it in sort of various forms, but never the full-on intense thing. I had been hearing about it all the time, and this specific cleanse, it's called an enzyme cleanse, where they ferment these enzymes and it helps to speed up the process of fasting, was really just like coming into my vision a ton. My fear and my mind were just blocking me, because I was just scared to not eat, because I love to freaking eat. I had heard so much, seen so much research about the power of fasting, autophagy for cancer healing, chronic illness, inflammation. I had gotten to this point where I was just feeling so terrible, and I just decided to freaking go for it. After 5 days of fasting, I got my blood tumor marker tested again. There were only 2 weeks in between these two tests, and I did nothing else except for fast. And the cancer markers went down to the lowest number that I had had. Like, did I just crack the code? It makes complete sense, because cancer feeds on glutamine, glucose, and methionine. Fibrolamellar specifically has been shown to be very dependent on glutamine, and glutamine is an amino acid that is in everything that we eat, so it makes complete sense that not eating starves the cancer. I promise to devote a whole video to the details of this specific cleanse, this specific fast, science of autophagy, the science of the whole entire thing, because this is obviously freaking life-changing.
Hours without food, followed by 12 hours of eating, and then another 30. They actually did it over a 30-day period. That at 36 hours, what happens is that's enough time where the blood sugars come down, where all of a sudden the body, it's so smart. It goes, okay, blood sugar's not coming. We've been in this fasted state. We've triggered autophagy. We've brought inflammation down. We've made you ketones. We're trying to go find food. But this extra weight, it's not serving you. Because remember, you got to go find food. So it drops weight. And it's the most beautiful way to get a person to unstick any kind of weight loss resistance. But most importantly, you know where it dropped the most amount of weight from? Where does everybody want to lose weight?
Belly.
Yep. And so that's what they showed, is that actually a 36-hour fast started to unstick weight loss, and it was started with weight around.
What happens to your body if you don't eat for 16 hours? And no, we're not starving, we're fasting. Let me explain. The first 48 hours, your blood sugar falls. All the food you have eaten has left your stomach and insulin is no longer produced. At 12 hours, all the food you've eaten has been burned. Since you haven't eaten, your digestive system rests and your body begins its healing process. Also, human growth hormone continues to increase. At 14 hours, your body is starting to use stored body fat for fuel, and it's starting to produce ketones. Also, autophagy starts to increase. Autophagy gets rid of old and damaged cells. This allows your body to build new and healthier versions. At 16 hours, your body starts to ramp up fat burning. Fasting 16 hours has shown to increase your HGH up to 50 to 100%. Increased HGH helps maintain lean.
Have one meal and say this meal comprises 2,000 calories or whatever, and you have this meal at 6 p.m. and you fast for 24 hours until you eat again at 6 p.m. If you have this one meal a day, why is it better to do that than to have, say, smaller meals of like 500 calories multiple times per day, little snacks?
But we need adversity to be resilient and to fight disease. But what's happening in the body is you're turning on these adversity hormesis response genes. We call them longevity genes. And they make the body fight aging and diseases. So if you always are satiated, fed, your body says, hey, I've just killed a mammoth. No problem. Don't need to worry about survival. I'm just going to go forth and multiply and screw my long-term survival.
Is the body cleaning house. That's how I like to describe it. What that means is that when you are not eating, and the food has been digested, your body then has to find other fuel sources. And also, a good amount of energy is used for digestion and the process of digestion and the immune system as well. Well, when your body is not now looking at all the different foods you ate and how to break it down, it can actually scavenge the body. And it does, and it looks for weak mitochondria. It looks for bacteria. It looks for viruses. It looks for cancer cells. It looks for weak, dead cells. It looks for senolytic-based cells, like zombie cells, and it cleans all those up. It literally engulfs or breaks down those cells. So it's a remarkable system that our body has built in for us. And that happens while...
All right, you want to give yourself a gift that your future self is going to love you for? Here it is, fasting, otherwise known as time-based eating. Have a listen. If you haven't figured it out yet, the good old American diet is killing us. And as a result of that, we're talking fasting is one of the best ways to combat and rid yourself of chronic disease that takes place at the cellular level. So here we go. Let's get into it. Check this out. The first 4 to 8 hours, which is not hard to do, blood sugar level drops. That in and of itself is going to be a gift. Now, if you can go just 12 hours, and if you think about it, you're going to be sleeping for 6 to 8 anyway. It's not hard to hit this 12-hour mark where the human growth hormone is going to increase. And then once you're there at the 12, you can push yourself to the 16 to 18 hour mark where fat burning begins and the miracle of autophagy, which is the body's way of kicking out all those bad cells all by itself and regenerate healthy cells. So do your research here, implement time-based eating, otherwise known as fasting, into your lifestyle. And like I said earlier, your future self and the lifestyle you want to maintain is going to thank you.